and we start with Sefer Chofetz Chaim, and we're on the part where when his son is telling a story about his father. And today's story is the Chofetz Chaim's claim, the Chofetz Chaim's distress. So it's now like a second part, and it says. For the last 40 years of his life, my father sought for him through the emissaries who traveled far and wide, disseminating them to the masses. Whenever my father would receive his share in sales, he would offer praise to Hashem that he no longer had to give his precious time in order to sell his works. Right? So before we continue, for the last 40 years of his life, so meaning before that he would travel from place to place, to community, and he would sell Sefer Chofetz Chaim, and he would sell Mishnah Brura. Right? It's today is not easy, right? But back then it was very strenuous, and he was very grateful, right, that he can do it through other people. Right, of course. I mean, you would need to pay commission and printing cost, which is huge, and right, some I guess swearing would get ruined, right, in transit, right. So it was not the most profitable thing, to say the least, right. But he was very, very happy that he would not need to travel, and I think that's a lesson to us. If we can just pay somebody do things for us and just sit there and learn Torah, we should do it. Unless there is like other circumstances, like if you pay somebody, they overcharge you, or you don't know, like honest people who would do it for you. Right? So that's maybe a different story. But maybe it's a one-time deal, yes. But constantly, it's not a good deal, not a good idea. And it says, I recall the time when a certain emissary wrote to my father with the good tidings that in certain province his sales had total 100 rubles. So it looks like it's a lot of money. My father's initial happiness later gave way to dismay, for the sale has exceeded the norm for that province. He was distressed over the possibility that the dealer had resorted to exaggerations or other distortions in convincing people to purchase his wares. So that's amazing. Let's try to understand. So, of course, back then there was no telephone, so they would write each other letters, and this salesperson sent Chofetz Chaim letters. So good news. We got 100 rubles. Looks like it's a lot of money, right? Because how do you know it's a lot of money? Because as we said yesterday, at the end of his life, he donated 100 rubles to this public freelance society, right? So which tells us it's like a huge amount of money, because he was trying to compensate all of this possible I don't want to say the cases of theft, but maybe some like unintentional things that they had would have money that belongs to other people, unintentional, of course. So he would give this amount for the whole life, basically. So we can understand it's a lot of money. Of course, like he did not know specific things that he stole, or like that not stole, but that like he was in possession of other people's money. But so right. So from amount we can draw the parallel. Okay. So going back. So first Chofetz Chaim got excited, happy, but that not so, because he knew the province, and there are not so many people, rich people, and people who can buy. So he thought that maybe this dealer was exaggerated the greatness of the Chofetz Chaim or something, right? Or rather, distortion convinced people to purchase his wares. Whatever, people do like many tricks, right? Some, for example, we try to buy on some website some things 3 times cheaper than everywhere. But amazing pictures. But when we received, we had to return almost everything. Like such a low quality. I don't know, maybe on the picture they have a better quality, like, right? So it was like different colors, different everything. Like, yeah, it's cheap, but it's very cheap. So we stopped buying. We stopped buying even the similar products. So we buy just local, not from the other countries, right? Right, but meaning with this advertisement, this and that, so the product seems much looks and much better than it is in original. So this Chofetz Chaim thought that this dealer of his doing some tricks. In the early years, he would arrive in town with the Sefer and deliver an ethical discourse before the community. If ever upon arriving in a town, my father would learn that it has been preceded by a visiting Rav, Rabbi, Maggid, preacher, or Mishulach, institutional fundraiser, who was planning on addressing the community, he would immediately leave the town without even opening his package of Svorim. Let's before we continue. So in early days, he would travel himself trying to sell his books, right? And in order to sell his books, he would give not in order, but since he already in the towns, he would deliver a lecture. And in olden days, it was actually, it says in the community, we were obligated. It's in Mishnah Berurah to hire somebody who would rebuke them. So they would pay a lot of money for somebody, rabbi, this maggid, right, preacher, that would go from community to community and rebuke people, right? So it was a standard, and they would need to pay money for that. Absolutely, because if people are being rebuked, meaning that there is a chance that they get to Olam Haba. If not, they would go to a bad place. Right, so it's worth it to pay for such a person. Okay, right, but he would not entrench on other people parnasa, right? So meaning all of this another visiting Rav, right? So he would give speech. So it would no big like a competition between the speakers. So people go to him or people go to me, right? So he would leave without even people coming to buy his books. So he, on the other hand, he just can sell his books, right? So since he already arrived at town, let him sell books and don't deliver the speech. What is the contradiction? He starts selling books like in the morning, let's say on a Sunday morning, and speech is at Sunday night, 6 p.m. What is the problem or something? Right, but one does not contradict another. But he did not want, because people might ask him to speak, and maybe they get upset and this and that, and maybe that person, the maggid, would lose. Right. Even if my father had preceded the other visitor's arrival, he would quickly leave the town so as not to hurt the other person's opportunity to speak and earn something for his own case, right? For his own case, meaning the people would pay a person for his speech 100%. Okay. So Chofetz Chaim would leave not to let the other people to make money. Once he arrived in a certain town, to find that the visiting maggid had preceded him. As my father prepared to head on his way, the distinguished delegation from the community approached him, imploring him to remain. They assured him that while they would not allow the maggid to address them, they would compensate him in full. My father, however, was not agreeable, out of the concern that the man's feelings. So meaning that they say, look, Rabbi, no problem, we're going to pay this maggid whatever he wants, double. But you give a speech. So meaning the person technically, like if you think about it, so would he come if we say you're not going to get anything? Most likely not, right? Well, most likely not. So meaning in some sense, of course, he comes to teach us Torah, but also to make up to make some living, right? So meaning if we give him money, and he can save money and go to another town and give the speech and he makes money, so he would make more, right? But Chofetz Chaim, like he knew the psychology of the people, it would be very embarrassing. Like it's very. I'm not sure how this distinguished delegation, how they came to their mind to make such an offer, but that's what they did. Then the Maggid himself came to my father and implored him to remain in the town. So they knew the tactics of Chofetz Chaim, and people know it's not like you park somewhere on a driveway and now you going away with the tinted windows, right? It's not like you take a carriage, right, horse and carriage, and everybody see that you're living. Okay. So now Maggid himself came and asked Chofetz Chaim stay in the town. He assured my father that he already been compensated and that it was perfectly all right with him if my father would address the community. Reluctantly, my father agreed. He later told me, right? So they compensated him. Maybe they give him money before he spoke, right? Tzedakah. So I mean this what do you call him? Mishulach, right? This institutional fundraiser. He raises money. If people just give him money and he could go continue on his journey and come home like maybe a week later, earlier. So he would prefer that. If he need to speak, he would speak. So basically, but same thing is here, right? So he was compensated, no problem. And he agreed, and what happened? My sales for him during the stay was quite poor. I saw this divine retribution for my heaven remained, for one should never cause anyone to be snubbed. Though the Maggid was compensated, nevertheless, in his heart, he probably felt hurt that he had come to speak and was pushed aside in my favor. People and ask and they're sincere, but we have to know people whatever they do out of good feelings and in some sense, I can understand them. There is Chofetz Chaim that comes here only once in 6 months or something, once a year, once in 2 years. So we want to hear to him speaking. What is right? Is it our fault that it's this another preacher came early? Like what is the problem? So I understand everyone. I understand this Maggid. I understand the community, these leaders of the community, and Chofetz Chaim. Right. But he got it. He got the message. Thank God I did not repeat this mistake. Later, when similar situation occurred, I refused to accede to the community entreaties. However, I promised to return in a later date. I did return, and thank God my stay was very successful. So from these small things, we can learn big lessons, right? So he said, I did not make as much sales. Meaning what? It's not like people not interested. Not like he did not deliver a very strong speech, right? It was why? Because Hashem is showing him through the sign. I'm not happy. Okay, stop here.